Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to another session of Global Festival of Oneness 2025. This is Nitin Sridhar. Let me begin with prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Shatismati Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Once again, a very warm welcome to everyone. Today we have with us Professor Ramakrishna Hosur ji. Very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you for making time for this session. And Professor will be speaking on a very interesting topic, Vedanta and science. This is a very recurring topic among all the seekers and non-seekers alike. So this will be very interesting, considering the fact that Professor Ramakrishna Hosurji is a scientist of international repute. He had worked at TIFR between 1978 and 2018. He was also director of UMDAE CEBS from December 2009 to October 2017. He's an author of more than 250 research articles and 4 books. His scientific work has been recognized by several awards, including being awarded with the prestigious Padma Shri by the President of India in 2014. He is a fellow of national and international science academies, and he has been also very, very deeply interested in Indian philosophy and spirituality since his childhood itself. We are very happy to have you here, sir. Please share your thoughts on Vedanta and science.
Thank you, Nitinji. So, for the invitation to participate in this Oneness Festival, and it is a great tribute to the greatest Acharya of our times, that is Jagadguru Sri Adi Shankaracharya. And I'm going to talk, I have listened to the talks of previous speakers, several speakers, who have focused on philosophy of Shankaracharya and various granthas of them, and they have discussed in great detail about those ones. And at the outset, I must say that my talk is going to be somewhat different in style, because I'm going to connect this to science. So I will be using a PowerPoint presentation here. I would like to share my screen. So this is my agenda here, as you can see, is how to attract the modern youth towards Dharma Shastra in this age of science and technology. Reading Dharma Shastras and recognizing their benefits is an instrument of happiness and peace. And this is the Wellness Festival, which is a great tribute to Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya. And I will tell you, apart from his philosophy, Advaita philosophy, which has been discussed quite extensively, he was instrumental. One of the greatest contribution, in my opinion, is instrumental in reviving Vedic philosophy, which had got completely masked by the influence of non-Vedic philosophies of Buddhism, Jainism, etc. Why I am saying this is very important? Because this is, in a sense, it has indirect most important contribution, since Vedas are a rich source of knowledge, both from practical, material, and philosophical viewpoints. And he demonstrated the enormous benefits of reading Veda Shastras for happiness of self and harmonious society. So that in itself is a great contribution. Apart from the details of the philosophy itself, this is all the knowledge which now became available for the other people to extract information from. Okay. So Vedas have been the main source of knowledge in ancient India, as everybody knows. And the 6 philosophies, also called darshanas, emerged from different interpretations of these Vedas with regard to reality, consciousness, and liberation, moksha. And these are the Nyaya Shastra, Vaisheshika Shastra, Sankhya Shastra, Yoga Shastra, Purvamimamsa, and then Vedanta. Typically, this Vedanta is the one which is now focused upon. It dealt with philosophies, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and all of that. And the founder of all of these things is Badarayana. All others had their own sutras. Nyaya had Nyaya Sutras, and Vaisheshikas had Vaisheshika Sutra. Then you had the Sankhya Karika. The Yoga had Yoga Sutras, and Purva Mimamsa had the Mimamsa Sutras, and so on. So each one of the associated with a particular Rishi, and Vedanta is associated with the founder, which is Badarayana, which is Maharshi Vedavyas himself. Maharshi Vedavyas is the avatar of Vishnu. These are not completely exclusive because they draw from each other. They draw inputs from others in some aspects. Vedanta has three sub-schools, Advaita Vedanta, Visishtadvaita, which is by Ramanujacharya, and Dvaita Vedanta, which is by Madhvacharya. Now, Vedanta is conventionally taken in the modern age to be dealing with abstract entities such as, I want to remove this side thing which has come here. How do I get rid of that? Okay, there. Anyway, so it is most frequently taken to imply religion, especially Hinduism, and modern youth turns away from the Vedanta. So I wish to demonstrate in this talk that the above impression of Vedanta is a misconceived thought. This is the consequence of ignorance about the richness of knowledge in the Vedic texts. In fact, it has a much broader perspective and is actually a highly advanced science. And to appreciate this point, we need to look at the two, the science and Vedanta, more closely and understand them well. Okay, let's start here. As what is science? Science, the term originates from the Latin word scientia, meaning knowledge. And knowledge has no boundaries. So Sri Krishna said, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. It means there is nothing as sacrosanct as truthful knowledge. The knowledge can be classified as material knowledge, which is modern science, and Adhyatmic knowledge, which deals with the soul, Brahma, Jagat, and etc. Now, how do we obtain truthful knowledge? This is by the process of systematic investigation in accordance with well accepted principles. This represents a science in the most general sense. Okay. So today, when we say science, it implies subjects like physics, cosmology, astronomy, chemistry, biology, medicine, engineering, architecture, etc. All this constitutes material knowledge. I will show that Vedanta includes all aspects of material knowledge and also Adhyatmic knowledge. Further, I will also demonstrate that both modern science and Vedanta are practiced in accordance with well-accepted principles, even though their approaches may be different because their objects are partly different, they are both equally rigorous. Okay, what is the general methodology of modern science? So you make an observation in the material world, make a hypothesis to explain the observations, direct experimentation on the material world to test the hypothesis. This may require design and building of equipment, interpretation of the experimental results as per physical laws, documentation of results and conclusions for verification and repetition. This constitutes the literature. Reproducibility of scientific observations and conclusions arrived at by some individuals and verifiability of those conclusions by others lead to general acceptability and a feeling of validity. Conclusions are based on experimental evidences and they can change if new data demands a revision. This is a continuing process and there can be no end. Okay. The guiding faith in modern science is that the physical laws do not change. Therefore, unique interpretation and prediction of outcomes of experiments becomes possible. However, as new evidence appears, new interpretations are possible, and therefore research and development continue in an unending manner. This is the so-called openness in science. The great achievements in modern science have seeded a feeling in the minds of modern youth that everything in the universe will be understood in due course of time as we make progress in science and technology, and there is no place for God or spiritual concepts. Spirituality represents blind faith and has to be done away with. Now I ask, is this a wise thought? My answer is no, and most people's answers is no. And you can see this has been recognized by eminent scientists themselves that physical science has limits. I list here a few of them. Erwin Schrödinger, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1933, said consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms. Neville Mott, Nobel Prize in Physics 1977, I am far from believing that science will ever answer all our questions. Robert Millikan, Nobel Prize in Physics 1923, said the map of science is still a great blank sheet. Marconi, Nobel Prize in Physics 1909, science alone is unable to explain many things and most of all, the mystery of our existence. Anthony Hewish, Nobel Prize in Physics 1974, science raises questions that it can never answer. And on the side, I have shown a book, which is a compendium of interviews by one particular person with lots of eminent scientists. And it says here the 15 Nobel laureates and other great scientists who believe in God. I just showed a few examples there. Now let's come to say what is Vedanta. Typically, Vedanta is taken to mean Vedana Mantaha. So that is the end of the Vedas. End of the Vedanta is what? Veda is what? Typically, people take it as Upanishads. However, Vedana Antaha means the essence of Vedas is present in all aspects of Vedas. Therefore, not only Upanishads, but other parts of Vedas, Brahmanas, that we will see, also has to be taken into account. And then the term Vedanta has another meaning as indicated by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So he says, Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyo. First of all, this is the Vedana Mantaha. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, that from all Vedas, only I am to be understood. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyo. Okay, that is one aspect. That is the essence of Vedas. So that is the direct meaning of all the Vedas. And secondly, Vedanta Krit. Now he uses the word Vedanta here. Vedanta Krit, Veda Videva Chaham. I know the Vedas, but I did not create the Vedas. So that is a concept which we call as Apaurushayatva, Apaurushaya Vedas. But he wrote the Vedantas. So Vedanta Krit, he is the person who is the author of Vedantas. And who is this? This is Maharishi Vedavyas. Maharishi Vedavyas is the author of all these Puranas, Mahabharatas, Brahma Sutras. And these ones are extremely helpful in understanding all aspects of Vedas. The Brahma Sutras actually are supposed to be the helping the interpretation of the Vedas, and therefore it's all part. And this is written by Maharishi Vedavyas. Therefore, it is Vedanta, Vedanta Krit, which were composed by Maharishi Vedavyas, who is an avatar of Vishnu, just as Krishna is. And Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. All these describe this and essence of all the Vedas. Okay, thus Vedanta relies on all the Vedas. Shrutis, not Shritis, okay, sorry, Shrutis and the Smritis. Smritis are all of these Mahabharata, Puranas and all of them. There are 18 Mahapuranas and all these were composed by Maharishi Vedavyas. Okay, authentic Vedic scriptures. These are the Vedas, the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, then the Mula Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita is part of that one. Then you have the Pancharatra, then you have the Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras aid consistent interpretation of all the Vedas. Mahapuranas, these are 18 in number, Matsya, Markandeya, Varaha, Bhavishya, Bhagavata, Brahma, Brahmavevarta, Brahmanda, Vamana, Kurma, Vishnu, Agni, Naradiya, Padma, Shiva, Linga, Garuda, and Skanda. Some portions of other Puranas, which are in accordance with the above, are also accepted as authentic texts. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that Sarvopanishado Gavaha, Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha, Partho Vatsaha, Sudhir Bhokta, Dvigdham Gitamritam Mahat. So, Gita is actually Amrit. And all the Vedas are, and Bhagavad Gita is, if you consider all the Vedas as a cow, then the person who is the milker is Gopalanandana, Krishna Bhagavan, and Partha is a Vatsa, that is a calf, and it is the Rishis and the Munis and all the Sudhis, the knowledgeable people. These are the ones who enjoy this Amrita of Gita. All the people who are interested, who learn about the Bhagavad, of the Vishnu and all the Shastras, and they are the ones who enjoy this Dugdham, which is the Gita, Amrita. Okay, now each of the Vedas is further subdivided by Maharishi Vedavyas into 4 components as per their components. Aranyakas, the philosophical interpretations of Vedic rituals. Brahmanas, explanations and instructions on Vedic rituals. Sangitas, hymns, prayers, mantras in Vedic rituals, Upanishads, philosophical knowledge. The Vedas also have Upavedas. Ayurveda is Upaveda of Atharva Veda. The Veda scriptures, which I put all of them there, all these four components which are there, contain rich knowledge about the universe, the material world, the technology, health, life, and also the abstract entities. Therefore, when we say the essence of the Vedas, we must consider all of these as well. And Vedanta also comes into the picture in this manner. Okay. And what is the general methodology in Vedanta? We saw about this modern science. What is the methodology here? The Vedanta has two aspects, as I mentioned: description about the universe, external world on one hand, and the inner self, Atindriya entities, soul, Jiva, God, Brahma on the other. The former relates to material science and the latter relates to philosophy and existence. That is Adhyatmic knowledge. The accepted principles for the material science part are the same as those for modern science. Direct perception, experience and experimentation, which is called pratyaksha, and then logical interpretation, which is called as anumana, and Vedic literature also provides valuable insights. The philosophy part deals with atindriya objects such as soul, God, which are beyond the reach of approaches of modern science. And for these, the approaches are common experience, experimentation on the inner self, this is meditation and Yoga Shastras, and the Vedic scriptures, which are recognized to be blemish-free literature because these are apaurushaya. The philosophy also deals with the relationship between soul, God, and the external world. All the Vedic scriptures are fiercely debated by the Vidwans, scholars in open fora, and are judged by experts and observers in an unbiased manner. This is the sort of thing which has to say in modern science, people talk about evidences, discuss it, debate it, and things like that. And I'm just trying to put it here that the Vedas are also described and debated as fiercely as in the normal science protocols. Till date, 22 bhashyas have been written on Brahma Sutras. Adi Shankaracharya's was the 20th, 21st was by Ramanujacharya, 22nd was by Madhvacharya. Similarly, on the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, that shows the rigor and extensiveness of the debates. Therefore, I'm trying to remove the concept, the feeling that it is all blind faith. This is all very detailed science. Debates are aimed at consistent interpretation of the sutras and other scriptures based on pramanas. And what are pramanas? Pramanas are accepted tools of acquiring truthful knowledge. And these are direct perception, experience and pratyaksha, logic, anumana, and blemish-free literature, the Vedas. Pramana Shastra is a deep subject which defines the importance and gradation of the pramanas and their dependence on situations. So you will have to see sometimes something becomes more prabala, then the other comes durbala and things like that. This kind of prabala, durbala, things keep changing depending upon the scenario. And that is where actually one has to use a proper interpretations. The conclusion arrived at is called Siddhartha. Therefore, now we come to the conclusion that thus Vedanta is science of the highest order. Now, the philosophy part of Vedanta, and this we get it from the Brahma Sutras. The Brahma Sutras are 564 in number, and out of that, the very first one actually sets the platform. The first one is Om Adhato Brahma Jidnyasa Om. So you will have to think of understanding Brahma, that is the Jidnyasa, you have to make Jidnyasa, and Ataha means actually because. Therefore, you have to do it. Atha is the person who is already qualified to learn it. So those people can learn about the Brahma and make jidnyasa about it. So, and Brahma is the only one who can give you liberation, and therefore the sutras indicate how all Vedas describe consistently the nature and properties of Atindriya objects, soul and God. So, Ataha, that is also qualified as saying Om Janmadhyasya Ataha. That means there is Srishti Sthiti Samhara Niyamana Jnana Ajnana Bandha Moksha. There are 8 components here. So Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, all of these have been discussed in the past. So these are creation, sustenance, destruction, Niyamana, control, Jnana, Ajnana, Bandha, binding, and then the Moksha. So all of these are coming from the Brahma, and therefore you have to do Jidnyasa on Brahma. This is the Brahma Sutra of Vedavyasa, which uniquely characterizes Paramatma as the one responsible for creation, maintenance, destruction, knowledge, ignorance, bandhana, engaging the souls in the cycle of births and deaths, liberation of the souls, moksha, and finally control, niyamana of everything. And Skanda Purana also describes this in a particular way here. Utpatti sthiti samharaha niyatihi jnanamavritihi bandha moksha ucha purushat yasmat sa harire karat. It is Kande. So he says here, Hari is the sole, independent, swatantra paramachetana, responsible for creation, utpatti, maintenance, sthiti, destruction, samhara, control, niyati, knowledge, jnana, ignorance, avriti, bandhana, engaging the souls in the cycle of births and deaths, liberation of the souls, the moksha. And Padma Purana says also describes the same thing. Vishnoho sarvottamatvam cha tad bhaktya moksha eva cha shastrartham iti nirdishtaha sarva shastrartha nirnayat iti padme. Vishnu is supreme. Liberation from the cycle of births and deaths is possible only by devotion towards him. These are established conclusions from all the Shastras. Okay, now due to the complex nature and enormity of the Veda scriptures and the different perceptions by the Acharyas, different philosophies have emerged, which I showed you earlier. But out of these Vedic philosophy, three are most prominent, which I mentioned to you also earlier, that in the Vedanta, you have the Advaita Vedanta from Shankaracharya, Vishishtadvaita from Ramanujacharya, Dvaita Vedanta from Advacharya. These are chronologically in that order. The first one to come was Advaita, then was followed by Vishishtadvaita, then it was followed by Dvaita. These are in different time periods. Okay, so just to give a brief of these three Vedantas, the Advaita Vedanta says, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This has been stated already before, so I will not want to repeat on those ones. And Vishishtadvaita says, Ashesha Chitta Chit Prakaram Brahmandekam Eva Tattvam. So this is Vishishtadvaita philosophy. So, and then the Dvaita Vedanta says, Swatantram Aswatantram Che Dvividam Tattvamishyate Swatantro Bhagavan Vishnu Bhava Bhavo Dvidetarata. So here he talks about the two real entities, independent and dependent ones. Vishnu alone is the Swatantra, which is independent. Everything else is dependent on him. And this includes Jada and souls. To give a little bit more about the Advaita Siddhanta, so Advaita Siddhanta was basically focusing on so-called Mahavakyas, which are part of the Vedas. So there are about, typically one talks about some 4 or 5 of them. I just listed here some. Pradnyanam Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ekameva Dvitiyam Brahma, Soham, Sarvam Kalo Idam Brahma, Etadvaitat, Neha Nanasti Kinchana. So all of these have been explained by different speakers in the past. So I will not want to dwell onto those ones in any great detail. But all of these are parts of the Upanishads and they have their significance. And Shankaracharya also introduced, despite that Mithyatva, Jagat Satyam, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, where to elaborate on that one, Shankaracharya introduced 3 levels of realities. And these are the Pratyavadika Satya. This is illusory and short-lived, like the snake in a place of a rope. You look at you see a rope and then think of it as a snake. This is the Pratyavadika Satya. It is a Brahma. Then the Vyavaharika Satya refers to day-to-day experiences involving Jivas and Jagat. He introduced the concept of Saguna Brahma, who is responsible for all the activities in this universe. This reality lasts for longer time. Everything vanishes when Jiva gets liberation after removal of ignorance and realizes that he is Brahma himself. Parabrahma is without attributes, that's Nirguna, according to him. So Paramarthika Satya, this is the ultimate reality, that is Parabrahma. Of course, Vishishtadvaita, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya had some differences on these parts, but that's not relevant at this point. So, but however, you see, all of those philosophies continue to exist. No matter, even Buddhism exists, Jainism exists, everything exists. How is it possible? This is the kind of a question which will come to everybody's mind, particularly in the modern youth. So therefore, I put here what is called unity in diversity. This is reconciliation of different schools of thought. And how do we know this? This Krishna Paramatma himself says this. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmano vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. So in whatever way people conceive of me, I present myself to them in the same manner. Everyone follows my path, knowingly or unknowingly, O son of Partha. And then also in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, he says, Mattaha smritihi jnanam apohanancha. It is from me, everybody gets the smriti, jnana, and forgetfulness. Everything. So therefore, different people get different kind of these jnanas, and that will depend upon their yogyata and the swabhava. Everybody's intellect as per their sanskar and intrinsic caliber, yogyata or the swabhava, he gives them rewards which satisfies them. Thus, different acharyas interpreted the Vedic scriptures differently. Besides, there are other schools like Buddhism, Jainism, Shaivism, etc., who have different thoughts about scriptures, soul, and God. All the philosophies will continue to exist with followers in each one of them. So this is the design of Paramatma himself. Philosophical loyalty is a matter of confidence in the perceived truth. This is the design of Paramatma, whose prowess is incomprehensible. And that is what is called as Achintya Shakti, Achintya Shakti of Paramatma. Now, let's come to connect it to the little bit more on the science side, to the physics side. Now, recently we are hearing about a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. It's not very recent. This has been there for nearly 70, 80 years, but it has not come into prominence. But these days it has come into prominence because of some experimental observations. And here what it says is all entities in the universe are connected. Perturbation at one point is instantly felt by the connected point even light years away. It may be from one part of the galaxy to another part of the galaxy or from one galaxy to another galaxy. These are all connected. So if you make one perturbation at one point, it will immediately felt at the other one and it will go change. You may not know it, but it happens. This is astonishing from the viewpoint of known concepts in physics, because according to modern physics, information cannot travel by velocity greater than speed of light. But these ones are light years away. How does it instantly go there? So therefore it says that does this define a new paradigm for reality itself? There is only one thing. So everything is connected. There is only one thing. Is everything on the universe only one entity? Is this Advaita? So this is the question. Now, Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, who is the avatar of Paramatma himself, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mattas sarvam pravartate, mai sarvamidam protam, sutre manigana iva, avinashitu tad vidhi, ena sarvamidam tatam. What it means, I am the creator, and everything in this universe happens as per my will. I am all pervading, and all objects are supported, connected by me like a string joining the beads. That which is all pervading, that is me, is surely indestructible. So Paramatma is responsible for the existence and functioning of all entities. He is also the link connecting all entities, regardless of their physical separation at all times, since he is indestructible. These resonate with the modern theory of quantum entanglement. Okay, so now we come to the external world. Vedic information in the external world. So Vedanta, Vedic scriptures, now I'm taking in the whole, reflecting signs of the external world. What are these things here? We talk about the two aspects here. The intuition, gifts from God, logic, Vedic scriptures, direct experimentation and experience on one hand. And many of the results relating to the material world given in the Vedic scriptures have been validated by modern science tools in recent times. I will demonstrate that to you in the next few minutes. Now here look at the material science in the Vedic scriptures. Concept of number 0, the Brahmagupta, 628 CE. This forms the basis of all mathematics. Decimal system, Aryabhatta. Astronomy, gravitational attraction. People credit it to Newton now, but it was there. Gravitational attraction, planetary motions, stability. This is stated in Rig Veda, 1500 to 1200 BCE. And Surya Siddhanta, 5th century CE. Distance between Earth and Moon is equal to 108 moons. This is equal to 233,000 miles. This is stated in Rig Veda. Distance between Earth and Sun, 108 suns. That is 93 million miles. That's in Rig Veda. Diameter of Sun, 108 Earths. That's equal to 864,000 miles, Rig Veda. Value of pi, 3.124. Bodhayana, 8 to 6th century BCE, and pi is equal to 3.1416, Aryabhatta 476 CE. Vedic calendar, 12 lunar months with a leap month every few years match the solar year. Speed of light, 299,792,453 miles per second. Saina's commentary on Rig Veda, 14th century CE. Wave particle duality of light, Acharya Kannada, 6th century BCE. Optics, light from the sun takes 8.4 minutes to reach Earth. Bhaskaracharya, 12th century CE. And the bottom is a pictorial representation of the same thing, the data which I showed earlier. And further, atomic theory of matter in transformations, Acharya Kannada, 6th century BCE. Sevenfold divisions in nature, including light. There are 7 colors. What do we say? Atharva Veda, XX 53.3, Chandogya Upanishad 3.13.77, Surya Siddhanta, 5th century CE. Water as source of power and energy, Patanjali's Mahabhashya, 2nd century BCE. Atharva Veda, 1.35 to 1.2, Rigveda 10.30.112. Concept of flying machines, Rigveda, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Yoga Shastra, Maharshi Patanjali, Lord Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. Guided missiles, various astras described in Puranas. Now, all of this knowledge, how did the rishis acquire this great knowledge? The rishis acquired this knowledge directly from the Vedas on one hand, and through deep inner experience, that is meditation and direct perception, aparoksha jnana, on the other. They get intuitions by the blessings of God, who is Sarvajna, and on whom they meditated. He bestows on them exemplary knowledge and supernatural abilities. This is Mantra Siddhi and Yoga Siddhi. A classic example of this is Srinivasa Ramanujan, a very renowned mathematician of the last century. The highly revered mathematician who lived in the last century is a classic example. Theorems were revealed to him by goddess Namagiri, and he simply wrote them down as per his own confession. Prodigies whom we witness even today testify to this fact. Material science in the Vedic scriptures, multiverse theory, Yatra Patityanukalpaha, Brahmanda Koti Kotibihi, Tadanantaha. This is in Bhagavad Puran. There are innumerable universes besides this one, and although they are unlimitedly large, they move about the atoms in you. Therefore, you are called unlimited. Okay, Vedas and Puranas describe the existence of innumerable universes with one Brahma heading one universe. Vishnu is the supreme commander of all the universes, and all of them function according to his will. So Vishnu is referred to as Anantakoti Brahmanda Nayaka. In an incident in Mahabharata, Sri Krishna, who is the incarnation of Vishnu, showed to one Brahma the innumerable Brahmas and their abodes. Modern science is now contemplating on this concept of multiverses. Energy matter interconversion. You see, the universe is initially made up of just energy, and then of course it got into the matter, the material. So energy matter conversion is already known. So it dissolves in him at the end. Universe is created by the energy of Vishnu. It dissolves him in at the end. This demonstrates interconversion of matter and energy. Modern science credits the quantitative relationship between matter and energy to Einstein. Material science in the Vedic scriptures again. Lifespan of Brahma in each universe. According to Vedic scriptures, the position of Brahma is occupied by different deserving souls, each with a tenure of 100 years on a separate time scale. Each day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years, billion earth years, and each night is also of the same duration. Put together, it is 8.64 billion years, which is called a kalpa. The universe is created, referred to as Brahmanda Spota, at the beginning of each kalpa and dissolved at the end of it. There are 360 such kalpas, which constitute 1 year of Brahma. The lifespan of Brahma can thus be calculated to be 311 trillion earth years. At the end of each lifespan, there is a total dissolution and a new soul takes charge as Brahman. Now, as per modern science, the universe began with a Big Bang 13.9 billion earth years ago. However, new theories are emerging which suggest that there are multiple universes and each universe goes through endless cycles of expansion and contraction rather than originating from a single Big Bang. These theories continue to evolve as new experimental data appear as evidence. Notice this 13.9 billion years is very close to what is stated there as 1 day and 1 night of Brahman. So that is exactly the matching there with regard to the time factor as well. Okay, material science in the Vedic scriptures again. Architecture. Look at the marvels of architecture here. Look at this symmetry in this masterpiece here, at this one. And look at this pillar here. This is 800 years old rust-free pillar. It is exposed to all kinds of atmospheres, weather, and nothing happens to it. And look at the stone rings in the temples here, interlocked stone rings. How were they constructed? And this is the temple which is 1500 years old, and the architecture here is impossible to imagine. And this is the Kailasha temple in Ellora, and this is a temple which has been carved from the top 1250 years ago. What kind of a technology did they have there? One mistake and completely goof it up. And here they have it coming from the top to the bottom, and they have carved this temple. So they clearly had an outstanding technology, and which was there and which we have got lost it. Now, technology of temples in India, and this is the geometry and maths. Technology behind ancient temples came from fusion of science, art, and spirituality. The geometry and maths, this comes from the Tapriyas Veda, Sulabha Sutras, engineering and material, Shilpa Shastra, space and energy, Vastu Shastra, astronomy, Jyotisha and Nakshatra alignments, acoustics, mandala design, stone resonance, consciousness, rituals, Agama, Tantra Shastra, and so on. Okay, material sciences with the scriptures again, healthcare, Ayurvedic biology. Ayurveda is Upaveda of Atharva Veda. This talks a great detail about the health concepts, and it is a holistic science. It says it's the coordination of body, mind, and consciousness. Okay, Prakriti of every body is unique. It is determined at the time of conception, and everybody is unique. The treatment to everyone will be unique. And it already described there are 8.4 million species of sentient species. Now, modern science says 8.7 millions as per modern science. This number is a little bit more uncertain. Okay. Then it also talks about the balanced diet, balanced action to prevent diseases. The Yoga Shastra talks about mind control, meditation, exercise, and the herbal products have synergistic effects, and disease is a personalized medicine and holistic treatment. The personalized medicine is now becoming acceptable in modern science. Until now, it was saying one dress fits all, but today nobody says that one dress does not fit all. So everybody is different, and this has been stated in Ayurveda thousands of years ago. This is also stated by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Says Yukta Hara Viharasya, Yukta Cheshtasya Karmasu, Yukta Swapnavabodhasya, Yogo Bhavati Dukkha. Those who are temperate in eating and recreation, balanced in work, and regulated in sleep can mitigate all sorrows by practicing yoga. Yoga implies balance, purification of mind and body by meditation and concentration, control of emotions, constant engagement, and surrender to God. And this is a little bit explanation onto that one. Yukta Hara means balanced diet, positive thoughts in prasada. Yukta Vihara means balanced in recreation and entertainment, not hurting others. Yukta Cheshta means balanced behavior, emotions, positivity in actions. And Yukta Swapnavabodha means that is balanced and regulated sleep, virtuous work, a sense of surrender to God. And Vedic medicine, in material science, Ayurveda, knowledge of life. Ayurveda is that part of Vedas which deals with health. It embraces the spiritual concept. Living beings are immortal souls endowed with perishable bodies to perform karma. Souls go through cycles of birth and death, acquiring different bodies as per their past karma. Karma of the past lives of soul is constituted the sanskara. It shapes the intrinsic prakriti body constitution, and that is proportions of vata, pitta, and kapha of a being in the present life. Disease is the result of imbalance in the components of prakriti caused by lifestyles and environment. Medication is aimed at removing the imbalances, and this is achieved by use of herbal drugs, diet control, and yoga, meditation and self-control exercise. Rishi Shishruta described 500 different types of surgeries. Rishi Charaka described a compendium of herbal medicines for a variety of diseases. Therapeutic benefits of chanting Veda mantras. Okay, so Veda mantras are traditionally chanted repeatedly on various occasions and involve generation of specific patterns and rhythms of sounds and breath control. This process has been claimed to have some significant therapeutic benefits. Mental health and cognitive benefits. That is, what are the various benefits? Mental, in the 4 different categories I have listed here. mental health and cognitive benefits, stress reduction, improved focus and memory, depression relief, physical health effects, cardiovascular improvement, respiratory benefits, hormonal balance, vibrational and energy effects, balancing chakras in your body, energy centers. As per Ayurveda, this is crucial for energy, prana flow in the body. Emotional benefits, inner peace. Modern scientific studies have shown that activation of brain regions associated with emotional regulation. This is the result of the chanting. Okay? And fMRI scans reveal reduced activity in the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. Therefore, this is an exciting topic for future research with modern science. Okay, so now we ask this question: how can reading scriptures, as you remember what was my agenda? My agenda was to attract the youth to read the scriptures and benefit by them and do better science. Come back there and to take this together. Okay, so therefore we ask this question here: how can reading scriptures enrich modern science? Learn from experience. In the past, many of the claims made in the Vedic scriptures, these were based on extraordinary spiritual prowess of the rishis and munis, were rubbished by modern science since the methods of science could not validate them. However, as science and technology progressed, those claims got validated. Several examples have already been listed in the previous slides. Now, what is the future research therefore? In all likelihood, there are many more ideas and claims in the scriptures which have not yet been realized, and they can motivate the scientists who have an open mind to explore. There is a potential for groundbreaking research. In fact, many eminent scientists in the last century did derive inspirations in this manner. For example, Robert Oppenheimer, who invented the atom bomb, Erwin Schrödinger, he actually talks about Brahma. He was the one who was responsible for quantum mechanics. Max Planck, also responsible for quantum mechanics. Albert Einstein. So a lot of these people have performed extraordinarily well in science, and they derived inspiration from reading the Vedic scriptures. Therefore, and it is time for us. We had lost this. Now we have to thank Adi Shankaracharya to revive the Vedic philosophies, and so that people now can get convinced that these ones should be read and gain the knowledge from this way, Vedas, Upanishads, and other parts of the Vedas as well, and to continue to do extremely benefit yourself, for your own benefit, for your own liberation, and also from the society. Therefore, in conclusion, until I'm finishing in time, good. So science is defined as process of systematic investigation in accordance with well-accepted principles. Modern science deals with the external world. Together with Vedanta, it constitutes what we call as integrative science. The Vedanta has two branches: material science, which deals with the external world; philosophy, which deals with entities, soul, God, and Jagat, and also with the relationships between them. Both modern science and Vedanta adopt rigorous approaches based on well-accepted principles to arrive at conclusions. They seek truths about our universe and our existence. As yet unexplored claims in Vedanta could enable greater achievements in the material world. So therefore, integrative science is required for a peaceful life and better future. Philosophical knowledge is crucial for moksha. So finally, I come to the last slide, and this is much of this what I have said today has been covered in this book, which has been published recently. Those of you who want to know more details about these ones can have a look at this book, and I thank you for your attention. And I close here. And I close here with the prayer again. Oh, Namostvanantaya Sahasramurtaye Sahasrapadakshi Shirorubhave Sahasranamne Gurudaya Shashvate Sahasrayu. I forgot this. Namostvanantaya Sahasramurtaye Sahasrapadakshi Shirorubhave Sahasranamne Purushaya Shashvate Sahasrakoti Yugadharine Namaha. Om आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
Thank you very much, Professor, for a very wonderful session. It was a really very wonderful session, uh, kind of presenting uh, how a systematic method the Vedanta is and how a systematic approach, which is akin to science, or we could call it as you said, it is also a science. So this is a very interesting perspective worth further reflection and discussion. When many of the audience have asked for the presentation they used, if you can share your email ID in the chat box so that they could interested could write to you and
Okay.
for the PPT. Many have asked for the PPT that you did.
RV was all small. RV Hosur 53, RVHOSUR 53 at gmail.com.
So viewers, I have just put the professor's email ID on the chat box. You can just note it down before you close. And again, I'm very thankful to you, sir, for making time for this session. It was a wonderful session. And on the behalf of the Indica Moksha, as well as all our audience, I thank you very much. Viewers, we have many more wonderful sessions coming up. Koti, can you show tomorrow morning's flyer? So tomorrow morning, we have the ongoing classes on Manisha Panchakam. Swamini Sadvidyanandaji will be expounding on this small Prakarana Grantha of Acharya over the period of 5 Saturdays. So join us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And with this, we will conclude today's session. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.